Hey guys, welcome back to Pompoween. Today I'm going to be doing one of my all-time favorite comic book characters, Poison Ivy, of course. If you're new here, welcome, my name is Pompberry. If you're not new here, you're probably getting tired of hearing me say this, but this month I'm doing one Halloween look a day. So that's 31 Halloween makeup tutorials. So for this look, I didn't really have an idea behind it. I was just inspired by the products I was using. So today I picked up some new makeup products and I just let myself be inspired by the products themselves. All I knew is that I wanted to do Poison Ivy, and I kind of let the textures and the colors do their own thing. And in the end, I think it turned out kind of like a wood nymph meets Poison Ivy. I don't know, what do you think? I'm getting like wood nymph vibes, which is totally fine for Poison Ivy. She has had many interpretations throughout her many years. My personal favorite is from Little Gotham, which is like the little baby version of the characters. Well, they're not really babies, they're just like little and cute. And I think I had that version in the back of my mind while I was doing this. And what I love about her in that series is that her colors change according to the seasons, and I think it's the most beautiful thing, and it's all done in watercolor, so I think this is very reminiscent of like a watercolor painting, at least in my mind. So I actually wasn't working based off of that version of her, but I think it's just always in the back of my mind because it is my favorite version of her. So yeah, if you want to see how I did this, then keep watching. But before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get to it. I've already done my base with foundation and concealing, then I'm moving on to contouring with a Ritual Defeat Inner Glow Cream Pigment in the color Eclipse. And this is almost like a blackened berry color. It's a really interesting product. I'm just applying it very lightly to contour the hollows of my cheeks, and just applying it with my fingers and blending it out because the warmth of your fingers will help to blend out cream products. I'm also applying a tiny bit on my temples and under my bottom lip. Then I'm going in with a Ritual Defeat Enchanted Lip Sheer in the color Bloodroot, and I'm going to be using that on my cheeks. This is a multi-use product. It's safe to use all over your face, including your eyes. So here I'm just using a tiny bit on my cheeks. I'm going to intensify that a little bit later. Then I want to create some texture, so I'm taking a regular latex sponge and picking at it with some tweezers. Now I'm going to go in with my WM Creations Full Color Alcohol Activated palette, and I'm starting off with the color green. I'm going to apply that on the contours and perimeter of my face. So I'm concentrating it around my forehead and in the hollows of my cheeks, but I'm also taking it around my jawline and onto my neck. Then I'm taking the color Beard Stipple and doing the same thing, just intensifying that a little bit, concentrating it on the outermost part of the perimeter of my face. And when you're using a textured sponge like this, you don't want to drag the product, you want to dab it on. Otherwise, you won't get that texture effect. Then I'm taking Bloodroot again and intensifying my cheeks a little bit more because the green kind of wiped it out. Green cancels red and vice versa. Even though this is orange, it isn't exactly red, but it did kind of mute it down. Then I'm going in with a NYX brow pencil in Auburn, and I'm going to fill in my brows. I'm going for a pretty extreme arch here, and I'm also doing quite long brows because Poison Ivy is pretty fierce. Then going in with a NYX micro brow pencil in the color Espresso. I'm just using that on the ends of my brows to define them a little bit more. Then to help define my brows a tiny bit more, I'm taking the Melt Gemini palette using the color Polka Dot and applying it to the very ends. You can see here this darkens them up a little bit, but it also makes them look really sharp and defined. Then I'm taking the color Lorelei and setting the front part of my brows, blending both colors together. And the reason I'm applying eyeshadow over the brow pencil is because the brow pencil is wax-based, so it has a bit of a sheen to it, so the eyeshadow just mattifies that down. Then going in with the color Mochi from that same palette on a big fluffy brush. I'm using this as my transition color, and I'm applying it to the outer corners of my eyes and blending it into my crease. Then I'm taking a slightly denser brush so that I can concentrate the product a little bit more, and working my way up towards the pigmentation that I want. I'm applying it quite intensely on my bottom lash line too. Then I'm taking the color Fire OG on a small fluffy brush and working it into my crease, blending it out with the previous colors as well. Now this palette is very pigmented, so I like to work little by little with these colors, really taking my time to blend them out. Then I'm going to take the color Leo on my finger. I know it's not a metallic shade, but I really just wanted to pack on the product onto my lid. And I also applied that to my bottom lash line as well. Now, because this wasn't as intense as I wanted it to be, I went in with the Eclipse Inner Glow cream pigment and layered it on top. And you can see this gives a really beautiful effect. And I would have left it glossy like this, but I didn't want my eyelids to crease. So then I topped it off with Leo just to set it. And you can see that this intensifies the color by a lot. So this is what I was trying to achieve, a really, really dark eye. Then I went over it with Fire OG to try to tame it down a little bit, especially around the edges, and so that I could blend it in with the transitions that I had created. And then in with Mochi to blend those edges even more. I'm also doing the same steps on my bottom lash line, so I'm applying Leo, then I'm going in with Eclipse, and then back with Leo on top of that. Really, really intensifying that lower lash line. Now I'm taking Goals on my finger and I'm just applying that on the very center of my lid. Kind of creating a halo eye or a spotlight eye, whatever you want to call it. I also applied that to the center of my bottom lash line. Now I'm going to be taking the Ritual Defeat Eye Soot in the color Fornax. And this product is so interesting. This was my first time using it. It's not a powder, but it's not a cream. It's just so unique. Then I'm taking the color Gemini and layering it on top of that. And you can see it really adds dimension to that inner corner. Then I tried taking Fornax on a fluffy brush and I didn't really get a great pigmentation from it, so I just went in with my fingers and tapped the product on, just highlighting my brow bone and my cheekbone. I also layered a tiny bit over Goals on my eyes. I also highlighted my nose, my cupid's bow, and my chin. Then going back in with Mochi on a tiny fluffy brush, I am shading around my lips the way I usually do, concentrating it on the outer corners and creating a dome shape over my top lip. Now I'm taking Bloodroot and using it as a lipstick this time, and here I sniffed it because it has a very strong scent. I still don't know what it is. It kind of smells like herbs, but it's really, really strong. It's nice, but it's very strong. So I'm just applying it to my lips and blurring out the edges. And I'm just building this up. As I said, this is a lip sheer. It's not a traditional lipstick. So working with it in layers is pretty great. I really enjoyed building it up little by little and smudging the edges as I went along. I did, however, want to keep the top lip a little bit more defined, but we'll get to that later. I also wanted to give the lips dimension, so I went in with Eclipse just at the center of my lips to darken them a little bit. I also applied it under my bottom lip for a bit of dimension. And now I've put on my wig. And the reason I did that is because, as you can see here, with a wig on, the green looks super muted, so I had to go in and intensify all of that. I wanted to see what the final look was going to be like with the wig on. It totally changes your face when you have a wig color that's this intense. So I just went back in and intensified all the green areas. And then because I intensified the green, I had to intensify the orange on my cheeks as well. So I went back in with Bloodroot. And I also added it to the tip of my nose this time because I thought it looked cute. I don't know. Then I contoured my nose a little bit with Mochi and also applied it to the sides of my nose. And this is what I was talking about with defining my top lip. I just went back in with Bloodroot and tried to be precise with my application of it, really rounding out my cupid's bow. Then I went back in with Fornax and highlighted my cupid's bow and the edges of my bottom lip and defined the top lip a little bit more. Never happy. And then went back in with Eclipse to darken up that top lip a little bit more and the center of the bottom lip too. Then I'm taking Fire OG to intensify the shading around my lips and Lorelei as well to try to brighten it up a little bit because it's a more yellowy tone. I just blurred the product over my top lip, which kind of destroyed the definition I had created, so I went back in with Bloodroot a little bit. But honestly, this look was all about layering and experimenting with new products, so I didn't mind having to redo the lips. Then I'm taking Bloodroot on the tip of my nose and my cheeks to intensify that a little bit more. I didn't want to look washed out. I also added it to my chin this time, make me look a little bit more rosy. Now time for some freckles, and I'm going back in with my alcohol activated palette. I'm using this shade on a very small paintbrush, and I'm just dotting it on and patting it as I go along. I pat it when I think they look too strong. It helps to thin them out a little bit and look more natural. And as you can see, these freckles look really, really natural because of the product I'm using. Alcohol paints are very translucent, so they give a skin-like effect. They're basically like using watercolors, but for your face. And I just concentrated this around my nose and the center of my face. Then I'm going in with this other shade to add a few darker freckles. I always like to vary the color of my freckles. Whenever I'm doing quick freckles, I just stick to one color, but when I have the time, I like to go and do multiple colors. It just looks way more natural that way. Then I'm taking the beard stipple color again and intensifying my contour. I really want to snatch those cheekbones and adding some more to my neck as well. Now it's time for some contacts, and I'm going to line my waterline with the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the color Boundless Bisque, and here you can see my contacts. They are very, very bright, light green contacts. I'm going to link everything down below, by the way. If you want to check out these contacts, they are great for brown eyes. Then going in with the Milk Makeup Kush Mascara and applying a healthy coating of it on my top and bottom lashes. Then I'm going to be stacking the Ardell Studio Effects lashes in the number 231 with the Stilazzi Double Take Lashes in the style Fantasy 923. And as you can see, these are red lashes, but I stacked them so that the red would just be peeking through slightly. I thought it looked too jarring just having the red lashes alone, but I did like the shape of them. And because I didn't apply any lashes on the bottom, I went in with another layer of mascara to make sure they were really, really intense. And then packing on some more Forax on my cheekbones. You can see here that as I pat it on, it kind of gives a gold leaf effect. It's a really, really interesting product. I'm still not over it. And then I went ahead and intensified the highlight everywhere else too, especially on the inner corners of my eyes, a little bit on the tip of my nose and the bridge, and my brow bones. And that's it. This look came as a surprise for me. I was not intending for her to look like a woodland fairy. I mean, that's the vibe I get from this look. She's like a wood nymph almost. I was just experimenting with the products, and this is what came from it. But I honestly really love this look. I think it looks so pretty, and I can't wait to experiment with these products again and do some more looks for you guys. I also want to go and buy some more Ritual Defee stuff, so if you guys have any recommendations, if there's any products that you absolutely love from them, please let me know down below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I am just so in love with these textures. Like, I know that I look super oily, but I love that look, that just like dewy kind of wet skin look. And that wasn't even intentional. As I said, I just kind of let the products kind of have their own voice, so to speak. I just kind of let the products do their own thing, and I played with the textures and the colors as I went, but I am absolutely in love with these products. They are totally unique from anything I've ever used before, and I think I have to go back to Friends Beauty to buy the rest of the collection. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect when I first started doing this makeup, but I'm kind of in love and want to incorporate some of these elements in my day-to-day makeup. I'm especially in love with this highlighter that kind of looks like gold leaf depending on how you apply it. Like if you apply it with the big chunks, it kind of looks like gold leaf scattered on that only shows up when the light shines on it, which is such like a beautiful concept. Whoever thought of these is like a freaking genius. And if you've been with me long enough, you'll know that I have done Poison Ivy before as a full cosplay. I'm gonna show her up here. And that was my real hair, that was not a wig. And I made that costume from scratch myself, and I actually have a video talking about it. It's one of my oldest videos. But if you want to learn how to do a full Poison Ivy costume, I'm gonna link it up here and down below. Now remember, that video was filmed years ago, so the difference in quality is gonna be drastic. My favorite character of all time is the Joker, followed by Harley, although I kind of hate what DC did to Harley when they started the New 52. So I like Harley from Gotham City Sirens and before that. Not a fan of her post New 52. Same goes for Poison Ivy, actually. But that's the beauty of costumes and makeup. You can just create your own version. So I hope you guys like this look, and let me know who your favorite comic book character is in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow for another Halloween tutorial. I'll see you then. Bye!